How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to This Week on Steam, where we take a look at your 2 weeks of Steam games that are coming up that you probably didn't know about. Now, let me just throw out a hypothetical. Have you ever been recording for like an hour and a half and you had your video footage all kind of good, and then suddenly the power goes out for like your entire city and you lose absolutely everything? Never happened to me either. Yeah, that's good. Now, don't forget also the Steam Winter Sale is happening right now and up until the 2nd of January. So you got a ton of time. Buy all that stuff you're not going to play. You know you're not going to play. Don't even try to give me that. Anyway, here are your games for the free weekend for starting today. Our first game up is called Contractors. It basically takes the idea of, remember all those really generic shooter games where you're like a Delta Force Special Ops kind of a guy? Well, it takes all that same generic formula, but this time throws it in VR. Big twist there. So now you can deal with playing a generic game all around you instead of just on the screen and wanting to quit. You know, that's going to be pretty hype for the 7 of you that own VR headsets. So you can check that out this weekend. After that, we have a game called Mad Machines, free for the next couple days. It says it's like a drop-in, drop-out multiplayer battle arena kind of a deal. Kind of similar to that Agar.io game where you're like the circle and you kind of go around the area and you eat bigger circles and then you become the bigger circle. It's like that, but with robots and guns and action. And so actually it's very, very not like that, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, working through this metaphor. And lastly up, we have Street Fighter V, which will be free until, I believe, Monday. We talked about this, I think, in the last episode 2 weeks ago. They're just keeping this game on free rotation. They're just trying to get more players in. Obviously, it's not going to be very much fun if you don't have a lot of other people to play against online, so they're trying to remedy that. Now that rapid-fire section is done, let's get into the games that are coming out for the next 2 weeks. So I changed up the format a little bit. What we're going to do, I'm just going to tell you the date, and then everything after that comes out at that date. And then when there's a new date, I'll just tell you that. December 20th. Have you ever thought to yourself that, wow, I wish someone had made a game where it'll tell me the countdown until the brand new year? Done. New Year's Eve 2020 is going to do just that. You'll have some relaxing images, maybe some background music, and you can count down the days until the new year where you still don't get all that shit you need to done. Isn't that nice? Moving into December 22nd. Have you ever played a horror game where the setup is like, you're in a really spooky house and there's something else here and you're not sure what it is and you have to find out how to escape? You've heard that like a million times, right? Well, add this one to the pile because the Alchemist House is coming out and it literally says, there's something evil in the house, will you survive? That's how you know. That is how you know. They just copy-pasted. I bet these assets are even right out of the Unity store. You can almost guarantee it. But if you like horror games, it's something new at least. Oh, management strategy games. We're just moving right along, moving into December 23rd. The thing that turns me off the fastest in a game when you're like, would you like to play a survival strategy tactical game, a management sim? And I'm like, actually, no. No, I would not. But maybe you do. So you could play Galaga Lighter. It's a space management sim, and oh my God, I don't know what people get out of these games. Send people to various planets and manage your political spectrum against all the alien species. God, that just sounds so incredibly boring. We just need to keep moving. Something that's definitely not at all boring. Hentai Like a Boss 2 comes out in just a couple of days. And all they do is they give you one image and you just have to click on that same image. You just have to match. They're going to give you a shape. You have to match it. And I think the girl's clothes explode as you match more and more. This is much more my speed. This is my speed. I'm all about this kind of a game. Like, give me more of these, please. Thank you. You know, somewhere in the world, when people have a game idea, they have to sit down in a room of other people and convince them that that game is worth making. And in History Racers 2, they had to sit down in a meeting and say, hey, I got this idea. You can play as Abraham Lincoln or Gandhi or any of these other historical figures, and you race against other people in a kind of a deathmatch scenario. And a bunch of other people had to agree that that was a game that they thought needed to be made, which blows my mind. Next up is a game called Swing Dunk, parentheses beta. I don't know why they included that in the title, but basically think, all right, I can't think of the game, but you know the one where you race around as a car and you push the basketball into the goalpost? Anyway, this is like that, except you're on a hoverboard and you can attach the ball to the back of your hoverboard and throw it into making a basketball goal. So it's sports games, same kind of arena. I do believe it's a 3v3. Could be an interesting take, could be a whole pile of crap. Next up, from everyone's favorite publishing company, Shenzhen Huangjing Technology Co. Limited, another hot release right off the presses. Eternal Battlefield continues to impress with, why are we releasing mobile games on Steam in the first place? But they're doing it. We gotta stay hydrated. This next one kind of blows my mind. Ascent Free Roaming VR Experience. It's not the title that gets me or the gameplay. It's the fact that in their description, they say a premium, high immersive VR experience developed for, get this, haptic feedback via motion floors, bodysuits, and climate control. Now, if you are one of the people who have that in your house, I don't think you're going to waste it playing this game, but it's cool that they made a game for the one person out there in the world that has this kind of a setup. Neat. Following that, we have a game called IOX, which is an ARPG top-down game. It looks like a more active shooting kind of a game instead of a Diablo where you're waiting for your skills to kind of come off of cooldown. And so that could be an interesting take on the genre. It does look like you're building skills, and it is an RPG kind of a system. All in all, looks like a neat little game. I'm excited to try it. The Orc Invasion. Garbage. Cthulhu Saves Christmas. Cool. Then we have a game called Bunker 56. If you know anything about the Bunker series of games, I don't know that these are related. The developer seems different, but there's a bunker called Bunker 59, I think, which was a great horror game on the Itch.io store a couple of years back. This, I think, is not at all related to that. And in fact, they took all of the great elements of that game and removed them. And it seems like you just need to drink and eat food and survive in the bunker for an undetermined amount of time. Moving into December 24th, first up is a game called Viper, which is seeking to revive the series of games from the early 2000s era that looked like garbage that you would expect to be playing on PS2. Nails it. If that's the aesthetic they were going for, nails it. For anyone else who's not into that, you're not gonna play this. And then we have a game called Datakoi, which I don't know anything about because the entire page is in Chinese. There you go. Oh, hell yeah. Now we're getting into the no self-esteem. Moving into December 25th, first up we have a game called Drinks with Abby, which allows you to play the role of a Western male, a white male, and take a girl out for drinks. The nice thing about this game is that it'll allow you to face virtual rejection as well as IRL rejection, so probably is just preparing you for the real world, I'd say. Another game taking a page from the PS2 playbook of the early 2000s is Knights of the Temple Infernal Crusade, where you're a crusader, and you have to unleash your holy justice among everyone. I think you just really dish out that justice to literally everyone you find. I don't know. Have you ever had a fantasy about being a holy crusader? I mean, who hasn't, right? If that's not your style, though, you could always pick up Door to Key. This takes a page straight out of The Witness with the same color palette, the same looking location, and even models of the world, but it's not made by the same developer. It's even the same kind of game. It's an abstract puzzle game, which they give you really no direction, and you're just expected to solve each of the areas. And I can't reiterate this enough. The developer and publisher have nothing to do with The Witness. It just rips the entire game off, it seems. So, you know, if you're into The Witness and puzzles, it may be good. It may actually be terrific. But, you know, when you start with a premise of ripping another game off, it's not a good start. All right, let's just get it over with. Let's do everyone's favorite section. Rapid fire porn game time. Buckle up. Tights fetish puzzle game. Fuck girls in a sushi restaurant. Fuck ninja girls. Whoa. Become a sacred prostitute. Fuck animals. Get a massage and then fuck the masseuse. Fuck Red Riding Hood and possibly also the wolf. Weird Chinese hentai game. Plant a garden and fuck the plants and then fuck your patients. I don't know. Anyway, that's all the porn games. There's about only 10 or 15 of them coming out. They all look like garbage, honestly. Let's keep going. We have a game called Try Again. That's actually a pretty interesting concept. You're going to be given all these puzzles, and you have to slice things in half or whichever way you want to slice them to either land on power-ups below you or collectibles, or just meet the objective of the stage. So, frankly, this is a game that I've never seen before, and it's an interesting take. I'd be down to try this. Let's see, December 26th, 27th of February, 2020. That's not how lists work, Steam. Moving on to December 26th. Do you remember when I was talking about generic horror games where you're like trapped in a house trying to escape? Here's the other kind of horror game. You're trapped in a house and you have to collect a certain number of objects, whatever they might be. It's like 6 pages or 4 teddy bears. In this case, 3 most beloved objects of the doll. It's just that people have not figured out a way to make a non-generic horror game, and it kind of irritates me. Oh, hell yeah. Next up is League of Pixels. Nothing to do with League of Legends. They just took, you know, the kind of half the name and the game type. But this is all about pixels. So now you can play a shitty 90s version of you know, your favorite game type. where you just walk around and you have apparently like 3 abilities and it's a pixel environment instead. I don't know why you wouldn't pick this up on the day after Christmas. Like you have nothing better to do with your time. Also, I just want to point out that their acronym instead of LOL for League of Legends is LOP. This is LOP. Doesn't quite roll off the tongue or sound very nice. Also, right after that, we have the question that I continually ask myself of, why are we changing Solitaire? Solitaire works just fine. Why are we fucking that up? Solitaire Call of Honor is doing just that, and I don't get it. It's just, you know, some things don't need to be fixed. They're fine. But these games just have decided to do it. I'm gonna need to start counting every time I see a really poorly made RPG Maker game that's coming out on Steam, because in this just 2-week period alone, I think there's like 10 or 12 of them. And they all, right away, you see the screenshots and you know. Like the Winter's Deal Frosty Edition, RPG Maker game. And I guarantee you it's not gonna be good. Damn, this next game combines 2 of my least favorite activities, math and puzzles, into one great game. Math Path, you use math to solve puzzles. Could not check out fast enough. I don't know anything about this Chinese game, but the title of this game is Infernal. I don't think they spell checked that one. Moving into December 27th, first up we have a game called Axial, which is a puzzle game where you have 2 separate axes, two little pieces that move on an x-axis and a y-axis, and you need to use them together in order to push squares into their goals, or, you know, solve the goal of each level. But it's at least interesting enough as far as puzzle games go, where it's a new kind of concept. And so you just need to block and move things and, you know, in order to solve the stage. It just looked interesting enough, and it has a retro wave aesthetic for their title. I'm pretty sure in this game called Creatio ex nihilo 2 Deus Atio. What the fuck is with this name? Anyway, name aside, pretty sure you're gonna get fucked by this dark, evil demon man. Pretty sure this just says nudity. That's all I can think is gonna happen. He is gonna wear you like a glove. Moving into December 28th, we have yet another horror game that even took the title straight out of You Can't Get Out of a House. It's called Trapped. You're trapped in a house. Something else is in the house. Also, they labeled a psychological horror game. I guarantee you at some point, the main character's gonna be like, why can't I remember what happened? Because that's every psychological horror game ever. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. All right, getting to the end of December with December 30th, we have Granny Chapter 2. Now, if you know anything about Granny Chapter 1, it was originally just a mobile game. It may still be only a mobile game, but now in Granny Chapter 2, the addition of Grandpa, you can play it on Steam. This is great. We're taking mobile games that already aren't very good and porting them to Steam. I like this trend. Night Solitaire. Oh boy. What is it about Solitaire that makes people go, I'd love to just ruin Solitaire? Is Solitaire really that popular that we need 2 games about? I think there's actually 4 if you count the last episode I did in 1 month. Also, this next one's kind of weird. It's a DLC pack for a game called Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, and you can play as now the White Ranger. I did not know there was a Power Rangers fighting game. Anyway, there's DLC pack if you want to play as the White Ranger, who's, by the way, a bitch. You could buy that DLC pack. Everyone knows it's about the Pink Ranger. Don't even try to give me this White Ranger garbage. Get out of here. All right, moving into December 31st. This next one is really rad sounding. It's a game called Triwing. If you ever played Mega Man Battle Network, you will know this game and this setup. You build a deck. It's a deck building PvP game where you have 9 squares and you have to defeat the opponent using abilities that either hit in front of you or whole areas, stuff like that. Again, this is Mega Man Battle Network, but just the battling function of that game, and that's really cool. This could be a great PvP game online. Next up, we have a game called Malediction that's just slated for December, so it has to be one of these days. It's a third-person perspective puzzle-solving game where you use time and apparently space to modify objects in your area to do things for you to solve all the different puzzles. Actually looks like a really interesting idea for a new kind of puzzle game, and so I'm pretty excited about that. You know, I always wonder how much drugs it would take to come up with a game like Cowcatcher, and I think the answer is a great deal, more than a normal person could probably handle. Cowcatcher is a game where you fly in a wingsuit and you try to hook cows to yourself and then launch them into a goal area. If you have nothing else to do on December 31st, you could play the game Fourthy, where it's a puzzle game where you just make the numbers go from 1 to 15. That's it. At least hentai puzzles give you a sweet porn picture when you finish them. This is just math. Numbers. Boo. Or, also on the 31st, you could pay for DLC for a game called Paranoia Deliver Me, in which case you get access to people in cosplay, some of which apparently are going to be nude. You know, you can actually just search this shit for free on the internet. It's all over the internet. Porn everywhere. You don't have to buy it. Moving into January 1st, we have a game called Cosmos, which looks like a neat little roguelike shoot 'em up. I just really like the graphical style of the game, and I'm a big sucker for roguelites or roguelikes. And so this just falls right into that category. Get power-ups, become powerful, fly your ship around, bullet hell game. What more do you need? This is great. This is great. Next up is called Demonic Runner. You sprint your ass down a dungeon, and you just stab everyone with a rusty sword, and you just keep running. I'm not sure. I think there's a way to die, probably, but you just run. You just run and stab people. Like, oh wait, you also have a gun. The video, just for a split second, has a gun. I don't know. That kind of defeats the purpose of the sword running, but could be fun. After that, we have a game called Everyone Dies. Great. Thanks for the spoiler warning. This is rad. Then we got a game called Street Hoop that is bringing back the SNES days of these sports games that are just ridiculous. You can like fly across the court with crazy slam dunks. I'm in. I love the genre of sports games like NFL Blitz, like Street Hoops, like this game, Mega Man Soccer, where it's just so ridiculous that they're labeled like, oh, it's sports games with big ass air quotes. Oh, it's gonna be good. And last but not least, we have a game called Ink Adventure, which is out on the 2nd of January. Looks like a really stylized platformer, all involving like black and white ink paintings. And it looks like it also has some like platforming, maybe almost like a Super Meat Boy kind of dangerous platforming sections to it. Just seems like a neat game. It's probably going to be on the more inexpensive side from what I can tell, but definitely keep an eye out on this one. Or don't. I don't give a fuck what you do. Sorry, that was a little mean. Anyway, we got to wrap up. That was it. That was your 2 weeks. I'm sorry this video went out late, but seriously, listen, I filed a complaint with the FBI that the city of Aurora had just all our power got shut off. I was very upset. Formal complaint is the craziest thing. Hopefully you see something in here that you go wish list, that you go, get active in their forums, add it to your follow list in Steam, whatever. A lot of these are also gonna be discounted when they come out, because they're gonna come out right during the sale period. So, watch for those, right? But that's it. So definitely, as always, let me know, if you end up looking at any of these games in the comments, if I found something that you had no idea about, but you're super stoked about, all that's great. You can always get in contact with me on Steam or Twitter or Instagram, or join the Discord, get involved with other people talking about games literally nonstop all day, every day. As always, just let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I enjoy talking to you guys about games and all this shit. It's what I do. It's all that I do. And until next time, burn bright, everybody. Very mad. It's also not salmon. Just so we're clear, the shirt is not salmon. This shirt is pink. The shirt is bright pink, but you can't really see that. Not my fault. Can't do anything about that.